Hello students. Again I'm here with this new question. Okay. A linked list is formed from the objects of the class node. The class structure is given below. The same pattern question. This time the variable name is what? Num and next. Two data members it has. Now what is the question? Write an algorithm or a method to insert a node at the beginning of the existing linked list. Okay. The method declaration is as follows. Please try to understand this question. Here it is said to insert a node at the beginning. Okay, means a linked list is already existing. We have to add a new node in that linked list. Okay, this is the question. So here you may have three type of questions, means related to inserting a new node. You may have a question to insert a node at the beginning of the list. This question. Another question you may have to insert a node at the end of the list. Okay. Or one question you may have to insert a node in between the list, anywhere after a given node in the list. Okay. So these three type of questions you may have. So here I'm going to discuss this one, how to insert a new node in the existing linked list. This algo is for that only. Okay. So listen, as I told in previous video also, before going through this question, first draw the linked lists with some few nodes. Okay, so please make it habit. It will be helpful for you to write the code or function in this case. Consider a linked list is there having three nodes, and I will draw three nodes only: num and next. Again, one more node, num and next. One more node, num and next. Consider the address of this node is 100. Consider the address of this node is 300. Consider the address of this node is 300, sorry. And here we have the values 5, 10, 20. It will have the address of next node, that is 200. It has the address of next node, that is 300. Now the last node, next part will have null. Okay. So first of all, you must draw this such list. Then the things will be clear, the picture will be clear, you can put the logic. Okay. Now coming to this. So as you know, this start PTR, what is this start PTR? This is the address of first node. Means start PTR has the address of first node. Here I am storing start PTR has 100. Note this start PTR. Okay. So an object of node class, and it has the address of first node. Okay. Now here n, what is the value of what is the meaning of n here? Let me tell you. Since we are going to insert a new node in the list, so what value that should be stored in that new node next in new node num part? What value should be stored? That is n. The value which are going to store into the new node num part, that is n here. Okay, so in case of algorithm, if you are going to write an algorithm to insert a node, whether at the beginning or at the end or in between the list, if you are going to insert a node, first of all, you have to create a node. You have to create a node. And in that node, first part, here it is num, you have to store the value. In the next part, you have to store the null. This process you have to finish first. Means first of all, you have to create a node and you'll store a value to the first part and you'll store the null into the next part. This you have to do in case of any program, any algo or any function of inserting a node into the list. So that I'm going to do. Means how a node can be created. First of all, we have to create a node, then we can store the value. So how to create a node? How we can create a node? By creating the object of this given class. As I've explained many times, what is a node actually? A node is an object of such class. So since we want to create a node, so we have to create the object of this class. What the name of the class? The name of the class is node. So we have to create the object of this. So here I'm writing node, new node equal to new, then node bracket. So by creating this, what will happen? A node will be created. New operator will allocate memory for the data members. So here we have two data members. The class has two data members. That is what? Num and next. Okay, consider the address of this is 400. Okay. Then in this num part will store the value, in the next part will store the null. This is the complete process of creating a new node. Okay. Then what we'll do? We'll store new node dot num equal to, what will store? The value. Which value we are going to store into the new node num part? This is that n is for that only. So here we'll store n. Okay. Semicolon. Semicolon. Then in the new node next part, new node dot next, what will store? Will store null. These three lines are compulsory if you are going to insert a node wherever you are going to store at the end or you are going to store at the beginning. Wherever if you are going to store, first of all you have to create a node, and by how you can create a node? By creating the object of that class. Then in the num part, in the first part you will store the value, in the next part you will store the null. This we have to do in each and every question of inserting a node in the list, wherever means at the beginning or at the end or in between, anywhere. Okay, so these three lines. Okay, now coming to next. So this node we have created, and consider the value of n is 10. Consider the value of n is what? 10. So that 10 we have stored into the new node. This is new node. Actually, this is what? New node. This object is what? New node, and it has 400. The address of this node. Okay. And the num part we have stored n. I have considered the value of n as 10. In the next part we have stored null. This we have done. We have created a node with a value 10 and having the next part null. Now this node we have to insert at the beginning. We have to insert here. यहाँ insert करना है इस node को. Okay, in this list. So how to insert? Just I will discuss the logic first. If you want to make this node as the first node of the list, the address of this node must be stored into the start. Okay, means the start should have the address of this node. So as you know, start has always contain the address of first node. So this node should be stored into the start. Okay, so if it will be the first node, consider now this 10 is the first node. So what should be stored into the next part? This 100, it should be stored here. Only then it will be connected. If you store 100 here, 10, the value is 10. If you store 100 here, that is the address of first node. Previous current linked list का जो first node है, उसका 100 है. Again, I'm repeating. I think you are confused. Consider this node we are going to put at the beginning. Consider we are going to insert at the beginning. So here num part has 10. What should be stored into the next part? If it is the first node, if it is going to be the first node, what should be stored here? 100 should be stored here. Means the address of this node should be stored here. Means what is where this value is stored? It is already stored into start PTR. Means what? We have to store in the new node next part. Means here we have to store the address of first node. Means the value of start will store here. The value of start will store here, and in the start will store the value of this new node. I hope it is clear. I'm going to write, then it will be more clear. I think you're trying to understand. If you got this, okay, but still I'm going to write. Means what we have to do? We have to write new node dot next equal to 100. No, sorry, new dot next equal to start, not 100, start, it is start PTR, sorry, start PTR, so start PTR. What start PTR has? Let me tell you. You tell me please. What is start PTR has? Start PTR has the address of first node. What is that? 100 will be stored into new node dot next. Means here the 100 will be stored. Here what will be stored? 100. Means now it is connected like this. This list, this node had the node address of this node. So for this node, now this node is connected to this node like this. Okay, now since this is the first node, so the address of this node should be stored into start. As you know, start stores the address of first node. So address of this new node we have to store into the start PTR. So here we'll write start PTR equal to new node. Simple. Close. Function close. Only this thing. Let me tell you, explain. Means what are we doing now? We are storing the value. We are storing the value. Start PTR means in start PTR now storing the value of new node. What is the value of new node? It is 400. So that will be stored into the start. Means now start has the address of this node. Now start is here. Now start is what? Here. Now start PTR has the address of this node, that is what? 400. Okay. Means now this is the first node because start has the address of this node, and now after this node we'll move to this node, then this node, then this node, then this node. Means now this is the first node of the list. We have inserted this node at the beginning by writing this line. Sorry, by writing these two lines. New node dot next means here we have stored the address of this first node, that was stored into start PTR, and then start PTR should now this is the first node. Since this is the first node now, so the address of this should be stored into the start PTR that we are storing here. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Like this, if you want to store the node at the end of the list, consider if you want to store through this same program, I am going to write the algorithm to insert a node at the end of the list. So what can be done? For that, you have to reach to the last node. You have to reach to the last node, and in the last node, next part will store the address of new node. Only this you have to do. Okay. So for that also, I'm going to write the code. I'm taking the same thing, and here I will only one difference. I will insert at the end. Okay. So let's see how it can be done. Okay, for the same question, only one change I have done. This time at the end of an existing linked list. Now we are going to insert the node, a new node at the end of the existing linked list. Okay, the same thing, same prototype, same function I have taken here too. Okay, now as I told, in case of insertion, if you are writing an algorithm or function to insert a new node at the end of the or at the beginning or at in between the list, these three lines are compulsory. Means what are we doing in this? Here we are creating the object of node class, means we are creating a node. Then in the num part we are storing in the first part we are storing the value. In the next part we are storing the null. This we are doing means we are creating a new node with the values and null. Okay, with the value and null. Now I'm going to create a linked list, then I will discuss. So this is the situation. Consider one linked list is here having three nodes, the values 5, 7, 8, and the next part has the address of each node. Okay, and start PTR has the address of first node. Then after we have created this we have created a new node and we have stored n. Consider the value of n is 12. We have stored into the num part. In the next part we have stored the null. This new node we have created. Okay. Now this new node we are going to insert at the end of this list, means we are going to insert here. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to start from the first node. We have to start from the start PTR and we will move one by one. You know how to move, and we'll move to the last node, and in that last node next part we will store the address of this new node. Means this 400 will store here, so it will be connected with this like this. Okay, so this we are going to do. Okay, so I will write the code for that. Okay, now see, so one node we have created. Now we have to move to the last node. Okay, means now when the PTR will have the address of this node, in that node next part will store null. So this time please take care. One thing I am going to show you. Okay. Okay. See here. This time I have not written PTR not equal to null. This time I have written PTR dot next not equal to null. You know, when we'll reach to the last node, then itself will go outside. We are not going to make PTR null. As soon as we'll reach to the last node, we'll go outside the loop. Means PTR when control will go outside the loop, PTR will have the address of this last node. We are not going to store null into the PTR. Okay, so I'm going to explain it. See, node equal to PTR equal to PTR start PTR, then PTR dot next not equal to null. थोड़ा सा ध्यान देना होगा. PTR dot next not equal to null, then PTR equal to PTR dot next, and here I have written semicolon. means the loop is terminated here itself. This line is not inside the loop. ये loop के बाहर हो गया. This will be repeated once only. Okay, when control will go outside the loop, this line will be executed. Okay, so here this loop is here only to move to the last node. Semicolon I have written here, it means the loop is terminated here itself. You can use while loop also, but here since I am teaching from the beginning, I am teaching this pattern only, so that's why I have used for loop, so that confusion should not be created. Okay, so let's start. Ptr equal to, I will explain, just listen carefully here why this ptr dot next I have written here. Just you must know, just I'm going to explain. Listen, ptr is what? 100. Start ptr will have the address of first node that we are storing to the ptr. Now ptr equal to 100. Now ptr dot next equal to null. ptr is what? 100. 100 dot next is what? 200. Condition false. Sorry, condition true. Okay, you can see ptr dot next is what? What is ptr dot next? It is 200. ptr is 100 dot next is what? 200 is equal to null. Condition true. Not equal to null. Condition true. So condition true. So what will happen? The control should go inside the body loop, loop of the body. Sorry, body of the loop. If this condition is true, control should go inside the loop, body of the loop. Since there is nothing in the body of the loop, because I have written semicolon here, so from here control will go for the ptr equal to ptr dot next. Means ptr will move to the 200 to the next node. Now ptr has the address of this node. Then here ptr dot next. ptr is what? 200 dot next is null. No. So again this condition is true. ptr dot next is what? 300. 300 not equal to null. Condition true. So condition true. So again ptr equal to ptr dot next. लूप के अंदर कोई स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, तो यहाँ से कंट्रोल यहाँ मूव कर रहा है. ptr equal to ptr dot next means ptr will be what now? 300. Now see why this ptr dot next not equal to null I have written. Now it will be clear. Now see what is ptr. It is 300 dot next. ptr dot next is what? ptr is 300 dot next is what? Null. So null नॉट इक्वल टू नल. कंडीशन फॉल्स. जैसे ही कंट्रोल लास्ट नोड पे पहुंचेगा कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाएगी, कंट्रोल लूप से बाहर आ जाएगा. मतलब पीटीआई के लिए 300 ही रह गई, नल नहीं हुई है, ध्यान दो. ठीक है. सो जस्ट नाउ यू कैन सी पीटीआर इज व्हाट? 300 डॉट नेक्स्ट इज व्हाट? नल. नल नॉट इक्वल टू नल. कंडीशन फॉल्स. सो कंट्रोल विल गो आउटसाइड द लूप. कंट्रोल विल रीच हियर. When we are coming outside the loop, you can see the PTR has the address of last node. In previous question, PTR coming outside the loop, the PTR generally it was storing null. Here it is storing the address of last node. That's why I have written PTR dot PTR dot next not equal to null. Okay, so coming outside the loop, PTR is what? 300. In the next part, what are we storing? New node. What is the new node? Address 400. That we are storing to here. 400 we are storing to here. So now it is connected like this. So now we have, since by this way we have inserted a new node at the end of the list. What we have done, we have started from a start and we are going to the last node. And in the last node, next part, we are storing the address of new node. Okay, and that's why here I have written ptr dot next not equal to null. Okay, as soon as we reach to the last node, this condition will be false and control will go outside the loop. Okay, little bit difference is there. Please make it clear by watching last video. In previous video, when control was coming outside a loop, the value of ptr was null. उस समय ptr के पास किसी का भी एड्रेस नहीं होता था. बट यहाँ पे ptr जैसे लास्ट नोड पे पहुंचेगा हम कंट्रोल लूप से बाहर भेज देंगे. It is happening here. So please be careful. Watch this video again and again to understand. So in this video, I have discussed how to insert a new node at the beginning and how to insert a new node at the end of the list. So for this video, this much only.